Okay, so on to the next Harmony of Hearts, man, and this one over here is once again for Marin. You guys are gonna love this because it's all Sleep Token again. This song and the next two that are coming after this are all Sleep Token. This one over here is Atlantic. I'm happy that we're going down this rabbit hole because I actually find them so epic. So I'm glad that we're going down this rabbit hole. This is Atlantic, never heard this song before. Let's get straight into it. For those of you who don't know, Harmony of Hearts is almost completely and utterly complete. At the end of today, there's literally gonna be one more, and I think it's for Lay's Scort. And then we're done, right? But yeah, let's rock and roll, man. Let's see what we got over here. Sleep Token Atlantic, let's go. Really get a 21 Pilots vibe from
Only when they bury bodies underwater, it's blue light over murder for me. Crumble like a temple built from future daughters to wasteland when the oceans recede.
The pen game is just so good, and you can see what he's doing over here, right? This sounds like one of those songs where it's playing into the psychology of the mind, but the mind is it's to a degree sort of mental illness, and to a degree it's like being in the depths of despair, being in the depths of mental turmoil, right? And then sort of playing that up against like the vast expanse of the ocean where it's like you don't see any horizons, right? You see nothing around you. It's just literally water, storms, waves, and it just feels like you're drowning and there's nowhere to save you, right? You're just lost in this expansive desert, but not desert. And it suits it better because it's like it feels like you're drowning. You're trying to keep your head above water. You're trying to tread, but you can't. Because the more you swim, it feels like you're never going to get to land. And it almost feels like the oceans are receding from the land to the point that I think it's very, very cool with the way he plays into the tides. Because tides are very much about how things go in your life, right? It's literally a metaphor for that. Like, you know, when the tide comes in and when the tide goes out, essentially is literally the ups and downs of your life, which I think is absolutely awesome. I think that's what he's playing to. But yeah.
Early bitter father, it's easier to try not to eat.
This piano is unreal.
So flood me like Atlantic, bandage up the trenches, anything to get me to sleep.
Give me a second.
Bandage.
Whoa.
Easier to try not to eat. So flood me like Atlantic, bandage up the trenches, anything to...
Something like the Atlantic with bandage up the trenches. Now the trenches, which is obviously speaking about war, but I think the way he's talking about trench is kind of talking about pain, right? And when he talks about the trenches, literally, it could be sort of self-inflicted, could be self-harm, right? Where he says bandage up the trenches, meaning the trenches of the war. It's the war that you're fighting. You have to create these trenches, and it almost feels like you losing them because it's in self-defense, but it really isn't. It's actually it's got the opposite effect. Essentially, it's like kind of like a paradox to a certain degree, where it's like it's self-inflicted because it feels like it's going to help somewhat, but it really isn't, right? Ending something beautiful, ending, if we're talking about suicide, ending your life is a travesty. It's a complete catastrophe, right? But it starts with that sort of mental war that plays out into that sort of defensive war that you play with, the trenches that you create physically if you're that kind of person, right? Talking about physical harm. because you don't know how to feel. You're numb to a certain degree. I think that's where he's going with it. You guys can more than welcome to disagree with me in the comments. It's literally my mind's just spinning. On a first time listen, I'm trying to sort of package it. I kind of feel like this kind of song is one of those that you got to listen to a few times to sort of piece together.
Is anything to get me to sleep?
So yeah, it's definitely a mental thing. Anything to get me to sleep, to feel something, to run away from reality.
Oh, come surrounding, eyes like frozen planets, just orbiting the vacuum I am.
Pen game, pen game, pen game. Cuts like something, but eyes like frozen planets, so completely and utterly numb. Either intoxicated with something, right, or inebriated with alcohol, right, or just completely and utterly numb because you've just had that, you've come to that point where it's a mental breakdown. You don't feel the world, you don't feel the physical world anymore because everything has just been completely and utterly overtaken by mental strife. Come on.
They talk me through the damage, consequence, and how it's a pain they know they don't understand.
This is a very hard song.
Statues at the bedside, I'm trying not to crush into sand.
Ooh. Statues at the bedside that I'm trying not to crush into sand. Bruh, when you're talking about sand as well, if I'm actually thinking about it, right, you're talking about the passage of time. So you're talking about kind of like the hourglass, right? And these statues that are kind of made, it's kind of like cold to a certain degree. It's kind of got like a Medusa attribute to it. Right, that if you look back, you see nothing but stone, you see nothing but pain. So it plays into the passage of time, plays into history, it plays into the people you love, and it plays into the dreams, right? And it plays into the cold disposition and the cold demeanor of your mental state. And then when you look into your past, right, those kind of things come alive as nightmares, which it feels like statues, people that you loved, but then they dissipate into sand because of the war that you're fighting mentally. Did I package that well enough? I'm not entirely sure, but anyway, it made sense to me at some point. Anyway, carry on.
So flood me like Atlantic, weather meets in nothing, wash away the blood on my hands.
Also, I don't want to pause it 1,000 times. You know you're gonna get that switch up though with Sleep Token. The atmospheric way in which they create their sounds are absolutely amazing as well. They make it so kind of like mysterious and powerful and emotive. It's just they are really good at capturing your attention and keeping you intrigued the entire time. Do you know what I mean? one of my favorite songs of theirs. I'm not even shitting you. This might be one of my favorite songs of theirs. I don't know. I'll probably say that on every song. But this is an epic, epic track. I also like the progression of the song over there, where it's literally dealing with the war itself. It's almost like he's telling you a story, but he's telling you the story from a distance, right? So he's telling you that the war is there. You don't see the war, right? You at a distance. The war's not at your doorstep. It's at my doorstep. So the way he's explaining it, it's almost like narrating, right? The scenes of a war, but in his own mental capacity, right? And then that plays out in its agony, it plays out in its pain, and then it literally switches into the chaos. It literally sort of brings you into his mindset, and the instrumentation kicks up. And you get a sense of that aggressiveness, you get a sense of that combativeness that he's constantly fighting, and the instrumentation plays into that. Does that make any sense? I don't know. Anyway, carry on, let's go. Don't wake me up, and it almost sounds like angels. So it goes into that sort of serenity part, saying I don't want to wake up to reality, because reality is where my war is. Not to mention that my war is also fought in my dreams as well, right? But literally, physically, I can't fight this battle. So I would rather be in this sort of like abyss, because lucidly, this is more painful. Do you know what I mean? Lucidly, I'm literally in the trenches. And when I'm sleeping, I'm fighting this war, but at least it feels a little further away. A little further away. My reality becomes far more dangerous to me. Far more self-inflicting, far more self-harm when I'm physically awake. I'd rather be sleeping. Do you know what I mean? Come on, man. I'd rather be at the depths of the Atlantic. I would rather be cast into that flow and current. In terms of like, he could also be speaking in terms of like, don't wake me, and playing into the Atlantic and things like that. Is that I've drowned up to the point that I might as well be gone. I don't know. It sounds all over the show, but I'm trying to piece it together as we go. Let's go.
Don't you worry,
Fuck, this song is insanely good. Okay, I think this is one of my favorite songs by Sleep Token. Guaranteed that's going on my fucking playlist. Right? Everything I've reacted to so far I've put on my playlist either way, but this is beautiful. It's hauntingly beautiful, right? It's almost agonizingly beautiful, because there's a lot of pain, a lot of darkness in this. Do you know what I mean? And it speaks a lot to relatable topics that a lot of people feel. A lot of people feel that, you know, existence is just too much. Life is too painful, right? And their mind sort of crosses that Rubicon into thoughts of one taking their beautiful purpose away. Anyway, you guys let me know what you think down below. I'll catch you on the next one. Peace.